Alright, here we go. As promised, bring you something new and different in the world of bipods. It's not your typical bipod. Of course, it's got a lot of the same standard features and that, but there's a few things that I changed down here to make it not like your typical build. This was originally intended to be a like a build type series. I wanted to show all the stuff getting machined, but yeah, I had some problems with some filming stuff.
You fucking prick!
Well, I've fixed my camera problems, and I finally got around to 3D printing out an adapter for a GoPro camera so I could put the thing on my tripod for the chronograph. So hopefully no more Eddie shaky hands over here. Anyway, you are probably familiar with this. This is your typical Harris style bipod where you have the swivel here, drag nut and lockdown adjustment there, and standard spring loaded legs. Big issue with this, one, the control knob here is located way too far forward on the firearm, so it's kind of a pain, especially because I like to mount my bipods way up in the front to give me a finer adjustment. So it's a real pain in the ass to reach up there and adjust that knob. Second problem, the drag knob on here does not lock down very well at all, even if you crank the hell out of it. So I needed something with a better clamping force to it, so on subsequent shots it actually holds its position. But yeah, you guys should be pretty familiar with these, so I'm sure you know some of the drawbacks already. Alright, let's take a look at how I fixed that. This part here is pretty much the entire heart and soul of it. It's the only part that's really different from any other bipod that you've had to deal with. There's an adjustment knob right here which clamps onto this post and allows me to cant the rifle left or right, and just a little snugness on there and it holds itself in position. And if you can make it out, there is a thick rubber washer located on either side of it, and this bolt attaches to the tube with the shoulder here, and I just cut it down until I had just the right amount of drag on these rubber washers, so it's not real floppy. It's got just a tiny bit of resistance to it. This is just a simple 3-bladed locking adjuster. Here's a hat because I had to bring it out over this step. Nothing too fancy or complicated there. One thing I did have to do was I wasn't sure exactly how much tension I wanted to put on it and how much flex I wanted to leave in the part, so I did have to cut this groove here a little bit deeper just to thin that area out to make it easier to tighten. And then on the top portion of here, I have several raised slots that fit into these key slots on my forend that's on here right now. But yeah, this is pretty much a prototype unit, so fit and finish is not the greatest. This part's actually machined out quite well, but the finish on it, I could have done a much better job. It works. It's just a prototype. The shaft on here is a hollow steel tube, and like I said, I got just a collar here. I interference fit that. I just heated it up and pressed it on there and let it cool, and works out great. On the other end on this side here, the end of this shaft is turned down a little bit smaller, and then I just have the green Loctite, the sleeve retainer, sleeve retained into the end of the actual bipod itself. Now on the front part here, I made some changes to it. If you notice, there's a hole here. There actually used to be a pad that was sticking out about 100 thousandths off of this surface, and I was originally intending to do the same spring-loaded design like you see on the Harris one, which is where I stole these legs from. After looking at it and thinking about it for a while, I didn't really like the spring thing. One of the big problems is because if you want something that locks down, you have to fold the legs out so that they hit hard against the stop when they're pulled down in this direction. So when you're pushing against the rifle, they're hitting against something solid. Well, instead, what I did is a spring loaded two position that locks into place, and now I can have my legs fold back so I have a shorter overall rifle, and it's just a simple 1-2. It's easier to move, doesn't require as much force, it locks in really solid, and I got this angle sitting forward. I also spread apart the two legs a little bit more by an additional 5 degrees to give me more stability, and it works pretty darn slick. I wasn't 100% sure how that was gonna turn out, but it's actually fairly solid, about as solid as any other push button one. Like Atlas, I think they run like a push button style in theirs. But yeah, it gets it done, and I don't really need any more than two positions. I'll show you a little bit more about how that works. So as you can see, there's a metal bracket located on the front and the side of it, and then there's a spring and a sleeve in here that allows it to slide on it. And then as you saw in the other camera angle, there's two pins, and you just push it in to disengage it from the pin, fold it back, and then it snaps back into the other pin in there. It's quick, smooth, easy, simple. Don't pay too much attention to some of the welds on there. They're a little crummy. I had problems with my TIG welder, but it still gets the job done. And my next design, I'm doing this whole piece instead of welding this together. This is going to be all milled out of one solid chunk of steel and then add it in later. Here's what it looks like from my perspective. As you can see, the knob is real handy and accessible. Just a small bit of tension and it locks really solid into place. Even with multiple shots, the cant on the rifle doesn't change at all. And it's much easier than extending my arm all the way out to adjust that knob like on the Harris style. If you guys are new to my channel, please hit subscribe. It'd be great. It can help me out with being able to afford something for better lighting. I know the lighting sucks. Trust me, I'm aware of it. Also, I have a rather large project coming up again, another rifle build, which is one of the big reasons I did this. I wanted to get some of the bugs and stuff worked out before the large project, which will have another setup like this built right into it. I'm also adding in a second pivot in the front on that design so that the bipod can stay stationary and I can move windage left and right with the bipod legs staying solid in their spot. So yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one, and we'll check you later. Bye.